Von den Regierungen auf silbernem
by strengthening the weak.
I regret that we haven't yet the agreement between the United Kingdom and the EU. But I still believe that this agreement is possible, and our goal is to find the solution and to find the way. And I think it is possible. Of course, it's so important to keep these 27 very close. We are united, we are acting as a team, and we understand very well that the main question is the border question between the Northern Ireland and Ireland. I would like also to say that UK was and is close and important partner for us.
What we will be doing is looking at the issues that we need to address in relation to the backstop on Northern Ireland. I believe it is possible, by working together, to find a resolution to that issue, and a resolution that ensures that we are able to move forward with the full package, with the future partnership as well. Considerable progress has been made since Salzburg. By working intensively over the next days and weeks, I believe we can achieve a deal that I believe everybody wants, and a deal that is in the interest not just of the UK but also of the European Union.
No, I think it's semantics, and still all possible scenarios possible. It's too early for us to speculate. The main thing what we would like to hear and see, strong position of UK, what really they want. Today, we do not know what they want. They do not know themselves what they really want. That's a problem. It will be November and maybe even more summits, because drama is not yet in final stage.
It is possible, yes. So absolutely, it's possible, but we have to work hard, and we do not know whether it will happen or not, but it's possible, yeah.
I think we should do maximum till the last day to try to have an agreement. But on the other side, the other 27 countries, we should be prepared also for no deal result. And I think maybe it will finish like that, because I hope my hope was that today we will have already some concrete solution on the table, but it looks like it will not be a deal today.
If there is a transition, it's possible to find an agreement. I'm open for all possibilities that we have to find an agreement. We fully understand that Prime Minister May has a difficult situation in the UK. Still having an agreement here doesn't mean that there will be an agreement in Westminster, but we have to move on both sides. There is still the Irish question and also the internal market questions which are not resolved, and I will listen now to Michel Barnier to know exactly where the hard points are still open.
Basically, the debate is now concentrating on this issue of the Irish border and how to prevent a border in the Irish Sea, which is something the United Kingdom desperately wants to avoid. At the same time, we all want to avoid, of course, a hard border in Ireland itself, between Ireland and the province. So that will be the main issue, I think, to be debated tonight. I don't think we will solve this issue completely, but I am cautiously optimistic that over the coming weeks, Michel Barnier and the negotiating team in the UK will come to final conclusions.
A longer transition period is a different issue. I've always been of the view that it will take, or could easily take, 2 years or more to negotiate a new EU-UK treaty, covering everything from the economy to trade to security. That could easily take more than 2 years, and of course it would have to be ratified by 28 parliaments. So there's merit in discussing the idea of a longer transition, but that can't be an alternative to a backstop in Ireland. Certainly not. It would have to be as well as. But if it did help to reassure people that the backstop would never be activated, well, that'd be a positive thing.
Je ne ferai pas de pronostic. J'arrive ici avec beaucoup de détermination, de volonté de faire, d'exigence aussi, parce que nous parlons pas simplement des prochains mois, mais des prochaines années pour ce qui est la relation future à penser avec l'Union européenne. Voilà, donc je pense que beaucoup de choses ont été faites, mais il faut maintenant accélérer le travail, et j'ai confiance en cela, en Michel Barnier et ses équipes qui ont fait un travail remarquable et que nous allons continuer ce soir.
Ich freue mich auf den Rat. Wir werden ja heute den Schwerpunkt Großbritannien haben. Erst den Bericht von Theresa May hören und dann unter uns diskutieren auf der Grundlage des Berichts von Michel Barnier. Ich habe heute in meiner Regierungserklärung im deutschen Parlament schon Stellung genommen. Wir wollen gute Beziehungen zu Großbritannien. Wir hätten uns gefreut, wenn das Austrittsabkommen schon ganz fertig gewesen wäre. So sind es nur 90% und es liegt weitere Arbeit vor uns. Aber ich gehe mit dem Geist an die Sache heran, immer alles zu versuchen, eine Übereinkunft zu finden. Das wäre für alle Seiten besser.
Depuis le premier jour, la Belgique travaille de façon très intense avec nos experts, nos spécialistes pour bien mesurer toutes les conséquences possibles en fonction des différents scénarios. Et je peux vous confirmer que nous travaillons sur toutes les hypothèses. L'hypothèse d'un accord qui est notre préférence, mais les hypothèses alternatives à un accord, que ce soit des prolongations de délai ou que ce soit effectivement l'hypothèse d'un no deal.
We have time. I am Italian, I am optimistic, but I defend the European position. Without the agreement on the three most important points for us, it's impossible to vote in favor.
Also ich glaube, Sie müssen Ihre Erwartungshaltung richtig einordnen. Ich gehe nicht davon aus, dass es heute Abend den großen Durchbruch geben wird. Aber ich hoffe schon, dass es uns in den nächsten Wochen und Monaten gelingt, diesen Brexit abzuschließen. Denn wir müssen alle gemeinsam ein Interesse haben, nämlich einen Hard Brexit zu vermeiden. Das wäre zum Schaden von Großbritannien, aber auch zum Schaden der EU 27. Heute wird Theresa May ihre Position darlegen und ich hoffe, dass es wieder einen kleinen Schritt in die richtige Richtung gibt. Das wäre schon ein Erfolg.
Brexit must be orderly for everyone and for all the issues, including on the island of Ireland. So we need time, we need much more time, and we will continue the work in the next weeks, calmly and patiently. Calmly and patiently.
Miten Suomi varautuu siihen, että sopimusta ei syntyisi?
Mal sehen, vielleicht gehen wir auch gleich.
At the other side we made a deal, okay?
Thank you.
What's the time?
Thank you for the rest of Sebastian, fine.
As skeptical as me, more optimistic.
Yeah, exactly. They want to use it. Taking to a stage all the negotiations for
¿Ha autorizado a Iglesias a negociar los presupuestos de la prisión?
¿Qué mensaje le trae al señor Juncker sobre los presupuestos? El presidente Juncker, sobre todo, demostrarle la colaboración y la cooperación y el compromiso de España con Europa.
¿Qué le responde a Ciudadanos del Partido Popular, presidente?
Just in time, we are Here. Where? Here.
Hello, nice to meet you very much.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for your time. Always pleasure. We call the experience of the man in the country.
I have no doubt that it's not only, the people say that, leaders more likely than ever before. I think
Tak teraz my sme tu. Československo, tento rok máme inak kopec tých. Sme sa budú...
Ta centrala jest
Probably they have some difficulties in preparing and delivering our joint letter with Bulgaria together to review. Excuse me, try to review. Yeah, I understand.
Bloody. You were mentioned as bad countries, so I have to defend Slovakia and Poland as well.
I'm not so sure. I didn't know that there was going to be a declaration.
We were informed that there was, but I don't know if you for the regulator it is still.
There is a panic.
Morning.
Hi, good morning. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning.
È stato un colloquio molto cordiale, molto sereno. Ho anticipato le linee e i contenuti della nostra manovra economica, la logica dell'impostazione, la prospettiva che stiamo per perseguire. Puntiamo sulla crescita, abbiamo un po' invertito evidentemente l'ordine che era l'impostazione sin qui seguita. Puntiamo sugli investimenti, vogliamo assicurare crescita al Paese, quei decimali di crescita non rispecchiano quelli che sono i fondamentali della nostra economia, le potenzialità della nostra economia. Quindi abbiamo parlato di questo, lei è stata molto attenta, molto interessata alle riforme strutturali, molto impressionata direi dal pacchetto di riforme strutturali che stiamo realizzando in Italia, alcune già realizzate e altre stiamo varando, e da questo punto di vista siamo entrambi d'accordo che la linea deve essere quella del dialogo costruttivo.
Were you impressed by today?
No, sì, hanno tolto l'ostacolo. Oggi non c'è l'ostacolo. Abbiamo il nuovo collega sloveno che c'è.
We want to protect the Irish Republic, but we want to achieve an agreement with the UK. We need to work hard in the next weeks. For us, as I said, there are three key points: the rights of European citizens living in the UK and the rights of the British citizens living in Europe. The money, I think there is an agreement on these two first key points. The third point is the backstop. We need to work on this. We don't have an agreement. But I want to be optimistic. Our vote is more or less in March. With these 3 points, we will vote in favor. Without the third point, it's impossible for us to vote in favor of the agreement.
On the withdrawal agreement, there are issues remaining around the backstop. Just to remind everybody, the backstop is what would come in place to ensure that there would be no hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland if the future relationship is not in place by the end of the implementation period. Now, the original proposal from the EU was one that we could not accept in the UK. It would have created a customs border down the Irish Sea. Earlier in the year, we put forward a proposal as to how to deal with this issue. A further idea that has emerged, and it is an idea at this stage, is to create an option to extend the implementation period for a matter of months, and it would only be for a matter of months. But the point is that this is not expected to be used because we are working to ensure that we have that future relationship in place by the end of December 2020. I'm clear that it is possible to do that, and that's what we're working for. And in those circumstances, there would be no need for any proposal of this sort. And I'm clear that I expect the implementation period to end at the end of December 2020.
Sur la question du Brexit, on a eu hier un échange utile et il apparaît très nettement que plus que jamais la balle est dans le camp de la Grande-Bretagne. Les États européens sont très déterminés à être positifs, constructifs pour pouvoir conclure un accord qui donne de la stabilité et de la sécurité, mais dans le même temps, nous serons très fermes pour ne pas permettre qu'il y ait demain une concurrence déloyale entre des entreprises britanniques et des entreprises européennes. On ne peut pas demander tout et son contraire. La clarté doit être faite dans le camp britannique.
Bonjour, Michael. Bonjour, messieurs, dames. On the 29th of March, it's game over. 29th of March is the last day where the United Kingdom is member of the European Union, so we have to have a deal before. The only thing is that we didn't fix a date now to see and Michel Barnier, and we are really all united behind him. That's very important. We are all united behind Michel, that we are waiting for his go to have another meeting, or we will discuss in December. We are not under pressure.
Also zum einen haben wir uns ja Gott sei Dank im Juni darauf verständigt, dass wir den Schwerpunkt in der Migrationsdebatte nicht mehr dem internen Streit widmen, sondern dass wir gemeinsam versuchen, unsere Außengrenzen zu schützen. Und da hat sich viel getan. Die Zahlen der illegalen Migranten sind um 95% im Vergleich zum Jahr 2015 gesunken. Und die Zusammenarbeit mit den Transitländern funktioniert immer besser. Ägypten stellt sicher, dass keine Schiffe mehr nach Europa aufbrechen. Wenn Schiffe versuchen, illegal aufzubrechen, dann werden die gerettet und nach Ägypten zurückgestellt. Italien unterstützt die libysche Küstenwache und diese wird immer besser und aktiver. Und auch mit Marokko und anderen Staaten sind Gespräche angelaufen. Das bedeutet, auf dem Weg, die illegale Migration nach Europa zu reduzieren, auf dem Weg, die Toten im Mittelmeer zu verhindern, sind wir sehr gut unterwegs. Die Richtung stimmt, wir sind noch nicht am Ziel, aber wir haben definitiv einen großen Fortschritt zustande gebracht.
She was very determined. This time I felt there was a lot of energy on her side and goodwill to find a solution. The only thing is that we diverge on a main position. I don't think she has a maneuvering space to allow the customs union to be only applicable for the territory of Northern Ireland, while for the European Union it doesn't seem acceptable to get the entire customs union for the territory of the UK. That's the key dossier.
Today, the European Council, I bring two issues I discussed with the foreign ministers on Monday. One is the external part of our work on migration. That is working well. We continue to work in partnership, in particular with the United Nations and with the African Union. We will continue to need resources from the member states to continue investing in projects that help managing the routes. Both the eastern, the central Mediterranean and the western Mediterranean route that needs more attention. And then I think the Prime Ministers, the heads of state and government will also focus on our partnership with Africa that we have brought to a new level of equal political partnership, and this is exactly the quality change that we needed with Africa. It's our closest neighbor and it's a strategic investment we're doing in the next years.
Hi.
Oh, hello. Bonjour.
Ça va?
Very good morning to you.
But we never know in case they would finish. Yes, absolutely.
It's not up to for the leaders at this stage to evaluate the draft budgetary plans. We entrust the Commission with that task, and of course the Eurogroup will take also this subject in due time. In the last decade, the euro showed a great deal of resilience to deal with crisis periods, and I'm sure that we will able to also cope with the budgetary plans in the different member states at this stage, and certainly so also with Italy.
After listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations, the EU27 confirmed that we want to continue the talks in a positive spirit. I stand ready to convene a European Council on Brexit if and when the EU negotiator reports that decisive progress has been made. And we should be clear that, as for now, not enough progress has been made. The issue of the length of the transition period was not discussed among the EU27 leaders yesterday. But let me recall that in her Florence speech in September 2017, Prime Minister May proposed a transition period of around 2 years, and the EU accepted this proposal unanimously. Therefore, if the UK decided that an extension of the transition period would be helpful to reach a deal, I am sure that the leaders would be ready to consider it positively. Today we also discussed migration and reconfirmed our objective to stop the flow of illegal migration. In this context, we ask ministers to work on a sanctions regime that will be specific to cyber attacks. Such a regime should help to protect our citizens, companies and institutions from all kinds of cyber security threats. We want to get an agreement on the banking union and the ESM in December. I hope our discussion today will inspire the Eurogroup to act more dynamically.
Sur l'euro, nous sommes tombés d'accord, pas pour la première fois, qu'il faudrait que nous complétions l'union bancaire, l'union des marchés des capitaux, que nous adoptions un calendrier pour ce qui est de l'examen et de l'adoption de la garantie de dépôt partout en Europe. Nous ne nourrissons aucune espèce de préjugé négatif à l'égard de l'Italie. Le budget italien sera examiné avec la même rigueur et avec la même souplesse que nous examinons les autres projets de budget qui nous ont été adressés. J'ai pu dire au Premier ministre belge hier soir que le budget belge ne posait pas un énorme problème, ni même un grand problème, ni même un problème, mais que nous avons des questions supplémentaires à poser au gouvernement belge. Et j'ai été heureux de constater qu'aucun Premier ministre, ni aucune chancelière, ni aucune figure dominante, dirigeante de l'Europe, a dit qu'il faudrait adopter les perspectives financières après les élections européennes.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. At this council, we've had a good discussion on our shared determination to eliminate people trafficking, and I reiterated the UK's commitment now and in the future to tackling migration problems upstream. We also discussed our shared security in the light of increasingly global, complex and sophisticated threats that we must tackle together. And I made clear that we must take further restrictive measures to deter cyber attacks, and I'm pleased that the Council has agreed to take this work forward. Last night, I updated my fellow leaders on the good progress that has been made in the Brexit negotiations since Salzburg, on the withdrawal agreement and on the future framework, thanks to the efforts of both negotiating teams. On the withdrawal agreement, there are a few but considerable outstanding issues in relation to the Northern Irish backstop. I'm committed to working with the Commission and EU leaders to resolve these as quickly as possible. There's a lot of hard work ahead. There will be more difficult moments as we enter the final stages of the talks, but I'm convinced that we will secure a good deal that is in the interests of the UK and of the European Union. Now, I'll take a few questions. Laura.
Laura Kunsberg, BBC News. Thank you, Prime Minister. You've been straining in the last couple of years to keep all the promises that you have made, whether to Brexiteers, to former Remainers, to Northern Ireland, or indeed to business. Ultimately, you are going to have to disappoint someone. Who is it going to be?
What we have done as a government is put forward a set of proposals that deliver on the vote of the British people, that would ensure that we would end free movement, end the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice, end sending vast amounts of money to the European Union every year, come out of the common agricultural policy, out of the common fisheries policy, but also protect jobs and livelihoods and protect the integrity of the Union of the United Kingdom. That's a proposal that I believe is good for the UK, but also would be good for the European Union. Tom?
Thank you, Prime Minister. Tom Newton-Dunn from The Sun. In the last 24 hours or so, and if you don't mind me being a little blunt about this, you've...
Never known you be blunt before, Tom.
You've angered Brexiteers with the transition extension suggestion. You've angered Remainers by talking about the meaningful vote not being amendable. You appear to have disappointed EU leaders by not bringing any fresh concrete proposals to the table, and they even went for a beer without you last night. What, in your view, is going wrong?
These are always going to be tough negotiations, and they were always going to get tougher before we got to the closing stages of the negotiations. And yes, there are some difficult issues that we are still working through. Crucial among those is this issue about the Northern Ireland backstop and ensuring that we can provide for a solution which is not the solution that was produced by the European Commission initially, which would have effectively carved Northern Ireland away from the rest of the United Kingdom. That's unacceptable to the UK government. I believe would be unacceptable to any UK government. So on that issue, further solutions have been put forward. But what we want to do is to work to get through that so that we can actually get to the deal that I believe will be good for the British people. That's what we're working through these tough negotiations for, delivering on the vote of the British people and doing it in a way which protects jobs, protects our union, is good for the UK, but I believe will also be good for the EU as well. James.
Prime Minister, with every compromise you make at these talks, the transition extension just being the latest example, doesn't it become less and less likely that this deal, that your party will ever be able to get behind this deal?
Well, first of all, let me address this issue that you've raised about the potential extension, as you recall, to the transition or the implementation period. This is an idea that has been around before. I've been asked about it in the potential for an extension in the House of Commons previously. I've always been very clear that we negotiated an implementation period with the EU, and we negotiated that that implementation period would end at the end of December 2020. What has now emerged is the idea that an option to extend the implementation period could be a further solution to this issue of the backstop in Northern Ireland. What we are not doing, we are not standing here proposing an extension to the implementation period. What we are doing is working to ensure we have a solution to the backstop issue in Northern Ireland that enables us to, which is currently a blockage to completing the deal, that enables us to get on with completing a deal that delivers on the vote of the British people and is good for the future of the UK. Heather, I think. Is Heather? Yes, sorry. I knew I'd seen one side.
Hello. EU leaders don't have a meeting in the diary for November, the European Council for November. The next one scheduled is December. If that turns out to be the meeting at which a deal is done or is signed, is there still time to get it ratified in Parliament, or alternatively, if there isn't a deal at that point, to get Whitehall ready for a no deal in March?
Well, we are all working, we're in intensifying the work on these issues that remain. And we're very clear. I mean, what I've had from leaders around the table over the last hours that I have been, since I arrived here in Brussels yesterday, is a very real sense that people want that deal to be done. And I think if you look at some of the comments that have been made, Chancellor Merkel said where there's a will, there's normally a way. Jean-Claude Juncker said, let's focus on the large areas of agreement, and it will be done. So there's a real sense. So what we're doing is working to ensure that we can do this deal within that reasonable timetable. I'm very aware of the legislative requirements we have in the House of Commons and the period of time that will take. Jason.
Thank you. Jason Gross from the Daily Mail. Prime Minister, the Irish Europe Minister has said that you now accept, you've told her that you accept that the final backstop can't be time limited. Is that right? And closer to home, Anjem Choudary is due to be released imminently. The security services say he's still a threat to the public. Are you happy to see him on the streets again?
Well, first of all, on the first point, if I sort of take a step back and explain what the backstop is, what it is there intended to be there for. It's if there is a gap between the end of the implementation period, which, as I said, has been set at December 2020, and the introduction of the future relationship. If there is a period of months, and I think we would only be talking about a matter of months when there is that gap, it's ensuring that there is no return to a hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland during that time, because we believe that the future relationship will resolve the issue of the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland, and it's that future relationship we want to see in place. And indeed, nobody actually wants the backstop to have to be used. What we want is to ensure that the future relationship dealing with the issue of the Northern Irish border comes into place at the end of the implementation period, which, as I've said, we had negotiated that period through to the end of December 2020. On the question of Anjem Choudary, obviously, he's an extremist preacher. He pledged his allegiance to Daesh. He was convicted of inviting support for them. But if and when any terrorist offender is released, well-rehearsed plans are put in place to keep the public safe. And the police, the prison, the probation service and other agencies have a range of powers available to them. They also have significant experience in dealing with such offenders. And this includes the setting of strict licence conditions, such as restrictions on movement and internet access, stringent curfews, and the breach of which could result in immediate recall to prison. Can I ask if there is somebody here from Der Spiegel?
Thanks, Prime Minister. There doesn't seem to be a majority in the House of Commons for any kind of conceivable deal. So what do you tell your EU partners to take away their fears of the deal being rejected in Parliament? And the second one, if I may, looking back at the negotiations so far, would you say that you have underestimated the EU's unity? And if the answer is yes, how will you change your approach in the final stage of the talks? Thank you.
First of all, and I think this will be the last question, but first of all, in relation to the unity of the 27, right at the very beginning of this process, I said we want the EU to remain strong. It is actually in the interests of the UK, as the near neighbours of the 27, what will be the 27 remaining states of the European Union, for the European Union to remain strong. Now, you asked about the question of the deal and taking that deal back to Parliament. I am confident that we can achieve that good deal, and that when I take that deal back to Parliament, I think members of Parliament I will be asking members of Parliament first to recall that we're delivering on a vote of the British people. We gave the British people that choice. They voted to leave the EU. We will be delivering on that vote. And I'd also ask them to think about the importance of protecting jobs and livelihoods in the UK, protecting our security in the UK, and protecting the Union of the United Kingdom. I think those will all be issues that the members of Parliament will want to consider when they're looking at a deal. And as I say, I believe a good deal for the UK will be one that does deliver on the vote of the British people and does all those things. It protects jobs, it protects our security, and protects the Union of the United Kingdom. Thank you.